Vehicle break-ins in San Antonio have increased as much as 30% in the last year. It's become so bad, residents are leaving doors unlocked so their windows don't get shattered. But what can happen to these thieves once they get caught? KENS 5 reporter Andrew Moore looked at several repeat offenders to find out.
I mean, we've had, like I said, about 20 break-ins just in the neighborhood.
San Antonians have seen hundreds of vehicle burglaries over the last year, and in one neighborhood, it's reached a tipping point. Cody Flores is considering leaving his vehicles open so he doesn't pay for busted windows.
I shouldn't have to think, hey, should I lock my cars just as a cost analysis thing.
And Jason Strawn's Tesla was hit almost in plain view.
In the middle of broad daylight. Front of a bank. I couldn't believe that this had happened.
The thieves use stolen vehicles with distorted plates and can get in and out of a target vehicle in less than a minute. And while police do make arrests, it's what happens after that's becoming a concern.
I'm hoping though if these guys get caught, that they don't just sit in jail for one day and then they're back out on the street doing it again.
This is Johnny Angel Alonzo. Court documents show he was accused of breaking into 3 vehicles in April of 2020. He got out on bond and later hit 4 more vehicles in Guadalupe County. By the time Bexar County prosecuted him, he was facing a 3rd-degree felony and time in prison. Instead, the DA's office gave him a plea deal and probation with no jail time.
Why did you give him a plea deal?
The majority of the victims indicated that they were not interested in prosecuting, they were not interested in going forward.
DA Joe Gonzalez said local victims did not want to prosecute and pointed out Alonzo did not have prior convictions in Bexar County.
You were okay with that probation?
Yes, I was.
But when Alonzo violated his probation less than 3 months later, no one showed up to arrest him and he was a free man the rest of the year.
When he violated his probation, then why was he not arrested for the entirety of 2021?
Well, you're going to have to ask law enforcement and the courts because we don't control when a person is arrested.
Flores says that's frustrating.
As a kid, you're taught, you mess up, there's consequences.
But the story isn't over there because Alonzo was arrested in early 2022 for committing several more car burglaries and stealing a car. He later bonded out and was arrested again for the same thing in September and then again in October of 2022. By the time Alonzo was finally sentenced in 2023, 5 more individuals had been victimized.
Are you okay with the way that this played out over that time and how it was resolved?
I'm not happy that it took this long, but again, you have to put this into context. You have to remember for a year and a half, we were shut down during COVID. We were not going to trial.
And that long delay before trial wasn't a one-time thing. Edgar Garcia was accused of 9 burglaries more than 2 years ago. He is only now going to trial for those crimes and has been accused of other more violent crimes since.
I'm not happy about the fact that we've had delays, but the reality is those are the delays that we have been experiencing both because of COVID and because of the backlogs that we find ourselves in this county.
After posing for 12 different mugshots to date, Alonzo was finally sentenced to 5 years in prison at the end of January. Garcia is going to trial this May. Flores says putting criminals behind bars should not take that long.
These people, if they're going to be doing that, they don't need to be walking around with us. And they need to be held accountable for what exactly they're doing.
But a solution for those trial delays remains to be seen.
The community is suffering during that time, being the victims of additional crimes until that sentence finally takes place. Is there not an issue there?
Well, of course there's an issue.
So what can we do about that issue?
Well, we can do what we've been doing all along in this office, and that's prosecute these crimes the way they need to be prosecuted, and we've done that. But you've got to understand we're only one part of the system.
Now, police held a burglary of motor vehicle task force throughout the month of December to try to track down on this kind of crime. When we sat down with them 3 weeks in, they said half the individuals they arrested were repeat offenders. Bill?